podcast. My name is Fox.
And I'm Luke.
Wrapping up the most impactful Marvel series show ever created. All in one. The finale of Wandavision. Aired aired last week and took the country and the world by surprise. Actually, not really, because I think we predicted about almost everything that was going on in this finale.
Yeah, this show has definitely had its ups and downs for a lot of people, including the two of us. And revving up to the finale, I don't want to say that I was right, that this is how it would end, but yeah, this definitely was underwhelming.
You thought so?
Yeah, since it's obviously been a little bit since this came out, we've been a little behind, doing other stuff.
Oops.
A few oopsies, but that's life. You got to move on. And here we are. And I was reading a few things regarding the finale, and I'm glad that the consensus was also in that camp of a little disappointing, a little underwhelming for a lot of people. And I don't know if that's because we've been endlessly theorizing about this stuff for the whole show, or just because the show kind of fell apart towards the end.
Yeah, and like we kind of said in the last episode, the reason why we're theorizing so much is not just because we're Marvel fans, but because there's not much else to theorize about, Like, we're still in this pretty big lull of movies and TV shows where there's not, like, extra, like, things that we can discuss and figure out. So in our downtime of movie watching, we're literally just thinking about how this show was going to end. And I don't know, it takes a toll on us at this point. And I think that's where kind of like some of our big sighs come in, because we saw some things coming, and that just leaves both of us going, we saw it coming. Yeah. We know it was here. Oh my God.
Well, not only that, like, you were a lot more on board with the show in the beginning than I was. I was very critical and kind of an asshole, but it's what I do.
Yeah, it's your thing.
But I was intrigued. I was excited to see where the show was going. And even though I said I was a little disappointed with the first few episodes, I did enjoy the recreations, even though it started to get old, and I was thinking, okay, let's get it moving into the story and whatever. And then towards the end of the show, it just became like this beefy exposition dump for the complete latter half of the series. And then the finale comes around, and here we are with the same Marvel shtick of sky lasers and punching, and then everything ends up working out, and no one has any long-lasting consequences, which is a little disappointing to me, because everyone was praising this show for being so uniquely different, and they're changing the game and whatever, and then it just wound up ending exactly like everything else.
Well, I think that, just in the defense of the show, I think that there are a few things that were supposed to be in the show that were left out due to timing, COVID, and editing and all that bullshit. And I don't necessarily think that this is the way that this show was supposed to end. I'll be honest.
Yeah, it does seem like it literally perfectly wraps up super fast.
Yeah, and they kind of close the door on it real fast. And then
not only closed the door, but they also left a lot of things unanswered. I had so many questions at the end of watching this, and I just realized, oh wait, we're not going to get any answers to them anytime soon.
Well, I think that maybe we'll get some sort of continuity answers early on in Winter Soldier and Falcon, just because how can they make this show and then not have any other superhero be aware of what's happening? Doctor Strange was obviously going to be in this show. There are so many Doctor Strange references in this last episode. It's nauseating. And the fact that he's just didn't appear, even though if you go back and look, some of the leaks that claim he was going to be in it, even were well, he was in it, so what happened? I think that we're going to get early on continuity corrections or acknowledgments.
Well, it seems like the consensus has been if you've been critical of WandaVision, it's because you either only wanted it to be loud punching and explosions for the whole show, you couldn't handle the time period, or you were just so lost in theorizing that it was never going to live up to what you thought. And I would say all three of those are incorrect for me personally, because aside from what you and I theorize and predict and whatever else, I don't really give a shit about any of that other stuff. I'm just here to see a good story, and I am a fan of the Marvel stuff. So it's kind of a shame. Again, like I keep saying, a fucking broken record. I'm kind of bummed out that this is the best we got for a show where they're claiming it was $25 million an episode.
Was that the claim on it? Really?
Yeah. I think it dethroned either Mandalorian or Game of Thrones or whatever as the
way.
most expensive TV show. Yeah, that's what they were claiming, and I have no idea where that money went.
I mean, maybe in the latter half. Like, I can see in the latter half why there would be so much money, because there's like extensive set design. But like in the first like 3 or 4 episodes, when they're just in the house and there's just people kind of coming in and out, there's no way it costs that much. Like maybe
Right.
like 10 million. Okay, sure, I can see that with all the man hours and stuff. But to double that per episode, no way. I mean, when they're in like in the middle of the season, when they start getting into the town and everything's in color now, and like you're seeing other houses and people wandering around, and then you get to see the entire town. Yeah, I can totally see that. But no way for the early on episodes. And the whole like CGI thing is pretty cornified in the beginning, and I liked that because they did very subtle CGI and did more of like of the time special effects. But no, I'm calling bullshit. I'm calling bullshit on that.
Well, jumping back to saying how Doctor Strange was supposed to be in the show, it seems like they were setting that up, and obviously you or I are just random dudes. We don't have any behind the scenes knowledge or anything from set or
I wish I did.
whatever. But yeah, if you want to let us know. But it does seem like they were banking on it ending with some sort of Doctor Strange connection. It has been confirmed she's going to be in Multiverse of whatever. So not only that, but isn't he supposed to be in New York? Like, you're telling me he didn't hear any of this from Jersey? We got a whole city engulfed in whatever, and he can see all this stuff with time and timelines and whatever, and he's just not giving a fuck.
That's what I'm saying. And the other thing too is that he saw how many million or billion different endings to Endgame in what, 30 seconds on screen.
Yeah.
You know, like, so like I said, I think that the nods in this final episode were pretty strong. I mean, just to name a few, we finally saw the Book of Magic, which is the Darkhold, which funny fact about that, I didn't watch the show, but everything that I read said that this book is also in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and it looks different, but a lot of people are theorizing that this is the missing book from Doctor Strange's library, which is kind of funny, you know, because that means that it has a strong,
just another connection to him.
It's got a strong root on it, you know. One of the other things that connects to Doctor Strange is Agatha says that the Scarlet Witch's power exceeds the Sorcerer Supreme, which is, you know, a main character in Doctor Strange, and the Ancient One is even in Endgame when they start traveling through time, because they explain the way that the timeline.
That's our girl Tilda Swinton.
Yeah, you know, so it's kind of, again, another nod.
Well, another question I have is regarding to Agatha, one of, I would say, both of our favorite aspects of the show, and this pertains to her ending because obviously spoilers, and we're gonna be jumping around like always. But so is she just some random neighbor now, or how's she gonna keep going?
I think that was kind of one of the things that were supposed to be answered and then got
Just
cut.
didn't?
Yeah, because it was the same thing.
Is she just gonna be working at Arby's now, or what's?
I'll be honest with you. I have no clue. I don't even want to think about it. In the comics, Agatha kind of mentors Scarlet Witch and teaches her how to use her powers correctly. Maybe we'll start seeing that as a nod, considering her brooch is still there when she gets turned back to normal ditzy, you know, Agatha. And the other thing is we're seeing like the conversion of the hex, and now that it's just gone, is she just flipping and flopping, or what? So I don't know. I don't know where that's gonna go, and quite frankly, I don't really care where that's gonna go. I mean,
Yeah, I thought, like we said, that she was either going to be some sort of antagonist, and they didn't really allude to that in the first half of the season, right? We kind of picked up on that.
yeah, I wouldn't say that they alluded to it. I'm sure if we
Okay.
went back and watched now, knowing that she is the main antagonist, we could probably be like, oh, see what she did there? It was kind of the thing, but she was just this goofy neighbor,
Right. And so, of course, she did the magic, whatever, with the witches and what have you. But I feel like her whole story was this complete buildup. They reveal it. They go through a whole episode. We get one scene of her back in the Salem trials, and then she just gets turned back, and no repercussions are going to come her way for being an evil wit. Does she still have the powers, or
I'm sure they're locked away. The thing that I kind of look at this as, when she gets turned back, is not just Wanda warping reality that she wants to warp, but kind of like Dr. X does with, or Professor Xavier, not Dr. X, does with Jean Grey. It kind of puts those boundaries in her mind so that the Phoenix doesn't, elude and take over. And that's just to control her abilities until, they want them to come out. So it kind of, I don't know. That's the way I looked at it. Not that we're going to see the X-Men anytime soon, but...
Speaking of setting things up for a later time, do you want to talk about White Vision?
Yeah, I would love to talk about White Vision.
Okay. So, what happened to him? Did he die? Did he leave? Where did he go? What happened?
I mean, this to me is... That's the fucking argument that everyone's having. Like, what happened? Where did he go? This is what I think. This is what
Because him flying out of that ceiling was the last thing we saw of him, correct?
Yeah, and the big thing for me, so two things. Number one, we saw a lot of flashbacks when he gets converted back over via the pretend vision, which is what I'm going to call him from now on. And he gets, memories drop back into him because the Mind Stone holds all of his memories, because what we learn later on in the episode is that the pretend vision is actually made up of a shard of the Mind Stone, just like Scarlet Witch is. So that's why she's able to construct him again using her abilities, because she is part of him and he's part of her. It's kind of like this weird emotional romantic thing, but they did it anyways. So we saw a bunch of flashbacks, which is kind of crazy. I mean, we even saw footage from Age of Ultron, Infinity War, Civil War. It was kind of like a, whoa, they're acknowledging the wider thing here, and then, I mean, his eyes even turn back to normal, and he's, just says, like, I am Vision, and then disappears. So the question that everyone is asking, including yourself, is, did he die because he was supposed to kill Vision? Or did he realize that he doesn't need to die because he's Vision, and that's that? Go ahead.
I was going to say, I assume that's literally just a way to ensure that Vision will return without having to say goodbye to him.
Absolutely.
Which I think cheapens the emotional weight of this finale, which is one of the things everyone's all gung-ho about, saying is the most emotional train wreck of emotional sadness in any motion picture experience. And it just makes me think you're dumping so much heart into this supposed goodbye between Wanda and Vision, just for 3 movies from now to say, okay, don't worry, guys, Vision's back. He's played by the same guy. He's got the same memories. He's dating the same gal. It's fine. Don't even worry about it.
Well, I'll argue that a little bit, because I think the whole emotional tide of saying goodbye to the pretend Vision is that Wanda is finally coming okay with letting go. And she's understanding that without loss in your life and sacrifice in your life, you're nothing, because you have to learn from those experiences.
Right, but what I'm saying is I love Paul Bettany as much as the next guy, but isn't that kind of just making the point that don't worry about losing a loved one, they'll just come back in the sequel?
Nah, I'd argue that, because that was part of her. the pretend Vision was part of her because she constructed that. Where the white Vision was literally his corpse that they put back together and then sparked it up. So I don't know. It's a fine line. I think we could argue till our face turns blue on that one. We're just gonna have to see it in different light because although I don't necessarily think this was the greatest Marvel thing in the world, I am still a supporter of it, and I enjoyed quite a bit of it. So that's that.
Okay, great. So that means we can talk about the thing that by golly did not see this one coming. Do you want to talk about Ralph Boner?
Nope, I do not.
Okay, great. So we're gonna talk about Ralph Boner now. What's your immediate reaction to this this revelation that it wasn't her brother, it wasn't from the Fox universe, it was literally some guy?
Here is okay. My initial reaction to that, and I shit you not, I wish Tasha was here so she could say this. I was like, well, I'm over it.
I feel like that was a lot of people's reaction.
Man, what a kick in the fucking dick.
So my note for the episode during this part was literally Boner ? They brought him back just to name him Puke Dick and then Scram, and I wrote awesome.
Well,
because as we know, I'm a huge fan of Iron Man 3's Mandarin twist because I thought it actually worked. I thought it subverted what everyone expected the movie to be in a way that I really enjoyed. I thought Ben Kingsley played it really well, and I didn't mind it too much. I know a lot of comic book fans were up in arms that this profound antagonist didn't get his 5 seconds to shine, but obviously he's coming back in whatever that is. But this one I think is very interesting because they brought back a fan favorite from a different universe, obviously trying to push the idea that it's either the same guy or whatever, just to do nothing with it. And not only nothing, but he doesn't even play a role in the finale. He's in one scene and that's it.
This goes back to my whole thing where I think that there was way more that was supposed to happen with his character, and due to timing and obviously the virus, they were just not able to do it, And
so he doesn't have super speed, or does he?
That's the fucking question, man, and I don't know. And the other thing that some people are speculating, which I thought is a kind of a cool idea, is Jimmy Woo says that there is an FBI informant stuck in Westview, but we never got the fucking answer to that. Who was the informant? Who was the protector that they were trying to get a hold of?
Yeah, because it seemed like they really put a dramatic emphasis on that just for seemingly no reason.
So I mean,
and I don't know why that was.
My hope is that Boner is a FBI code name, undercover name, protective name, whatever, and he really is Quicksilver, and they're trying to figure out how he got there due to some anomaly that happened. So they stored his ass in Westview, and then,
Good coincidence, huh?
Yeah, and the other thing, too, is maybe there was even more in the background to this that they could spin on it. Maybe Vision knew about this issue. There was a blip with something in Doctor Strange's, world. I don't fucking know. I'm reaching here, but I just hope that they bring him back at some point, because if they just waste it on a fucking 2-episode nod to him where he actually has full airtime on screen,
that's a colossal fuck you to fans and the audience, which I'm honestly fine with. I don't really care if this is the last we see of him. You gotta whatever. But I did find a pretty funny Reddit comment that I'd like to read in regards to how I feel. It's a theory in air quotes for No Way Home. And it says Peter will need a lawyer, and someone will recommend a blind guy named Matt from Hell's Kitchen, who will be portrayed by Charlie Cox. He'll turn out to be a random lawyer and nothing else.
Oh no.
And yeah, I honestly, that's basically what they did. Good on you, Marvel. You really know how to stick it to Stick it to the fans.
I'm sure there's like a lot of logistics that have to go into this, like no doubt. But I feel like if they can't make it worth the long run to bring someone back in, just don't do it at all. Because as much as I love the Easter eggs and like the little nods to different things that are going on, not only in the comics but in the MCU itself and like from different movies, don't fucking drag something that's been contemplated about and thought about and theorized about for years now, and just be like, by the way, we know that you like the X-Men movies and we own them now, but we're not doing anything with them, and then throw it out the window, you know?
Yeah, that'd be like, you know how they brought J. Jonah Jameson back?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
That'd be like him playing Gary Johnson, who also works at the Daily Bugle, and
Right.
blah, 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 blah. Like, oh, okay, that's just, it's cheap, but whatever.
Right.
It's
exactly.
Doesn't make or break the show, I guess, but it is kind of very strange.
So I don't want to ramble on forever on this one, considering our last few have been multiple episodes and rather long, but the ending, we had 2 end scenes, end credit scenes that kind of give us a weird little nod to something in the future. The first one being that Monica Rambeau gets pulled aside by an FBI agent in the theatre, and it turns out to be, drumroll please,
a Skrull!
Oh my goodness, who is obviously recruiting for Nick Fury. And the only reason that we, or not we, but I think that they are, hunting her down is because A, she had some kind of connection with Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, who obviously Nick Fury has a boner for, and also has pretty much Captain Marvel powers now. And we see that a little bit in the final fight scene when her Phasma or Photon or whatever her name is powers kind of come to light, where she can manipulate light and just absorb those bullets right into her very large chest.
I thought she was gonna absorb them and then spit them back at Hayward like in The Mask.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Bum that didn't happen. Actually, speaking of that, Hayward just straight up goes to shoot those kids. So that was pretty ballsy of everyone.
I mean, whatever. Hayward was nothing to me.
Well, they set him up again like he was going to be some hot shit, and then he just ends up becoming a mustache twirling bad guy in the end. Okay.
You know what the character I compared him to was William Strider from the X-Men series. Or Stryker, not Strider.
Yeah, I would agree. I was kind of getting like a General Ross vibe from him, but that's giving it too much credit.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. Just with the Skrull end scene, she even says to Monica that he wants to see you, and she goes, where? And she kind of points up, which alludes to the end credit scene that we got in Far From Home, where Nick Fury was on the space station that is kind of orbiting Earth, I guess. So that's kind of cool. I'm interested. I'd rather see, I hope this leads to a Secret Invasion series, because obviously if there's an FBI agent who is a Skrull, they got to be everywhere. So I'd be rather interested to see that. And I can see them even doing that instead of doing a crazy multiverse where Captain America comes back or Iron Man comes back.
Yeah, watch. We've been reading way too far into Multiverse of Madness and the Spider-Man stuff, and there's going to be no multiverse at all.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
That'd be incredible.
That would be crazy. And then the last end credit scene, I don't know. I got mixed feelings about it. We see, and this is a cool nod to you, my friend. We see Scarlet Witch kind of sitting on the step of a very Evil Dead-looking cabin. And
I got that vibe with that in the book together. I was thinking, where's Bruce?
Right, exactly. Which is kind of cool nod. And then as we kind of go into the house via a really cool panning shot and zoom shot, we see that in the back room.
That's where all that money went.
Yeah, there you go.
Dolly shot.
We see that Scarlet Witch, who has copied herself very similarly to how Doctor Strange does, is reading and studying, and we even hear the twins' voices at the end. which we know already that they get reincarnated to Wiccan and Speed. And if they don't bring those kids back, are you kidding me? They grew on me. They grew on me quite a bit.
Well, the kid who played Discount Frankie Muniz did a really good job in the Malcolm episode.
Oh, well,
he was real
Wiccan?
believable.
Yeah, Wiccan.
Yeah.
Yeah, and both those kids are part of the Young Avengers, which I'm sure we'll see in Phase 4. You know, at least an announcement at some point saying, like, hey, Young Avengers are coming, you know, which would be great.
Yeah, it'll be them and Haley Steinfeld.
I would say, because I think Kate Bishop is part of the Young Avengers as well. So
sure, whatever.
Well,
Let her be the face of it.
That will give these kids time, because you know by the time they start filming Young Avengers, it's going to be probably 4 or 5 years. So these kids will hit puberty,
be like 18.
Yeah, right. They're going to be able to rock and roll and do their thing. So, that's like it though. I don't have any more like what's going to happen next things. I feel like we've exhausted.
I feel kind of burned out on this one. Yeah,
I know. I feel like we've exhausted all of our theories and stuff. So,
well, in that case, Vox, why don't you explain to the kids in the back how we rate things on this bad boy?
It's been a hot minute since we've done this one.
I know.
So usually we decide to pick or flick a movie, or in this case, a TV series that we've been watching. Pick it being worth watching, flick it meaning don't even waste your time. It's a pile of garbage. And then just as a little extra nod to those people that like to see numbers in your face, we give it a scale of 1 to 10 and kind of a line from there how we feel about the movies or TV series. Luke, overall, WandaVision deserves a what out of 10?
I'd give this a solid 6.
6? Okay, I can live with that. I was going to say I give it a solid 7, so we're kind of in the ballpark of where I figured we would be, considering I liked it just a tad more than you did.
Yeah, definitely closer to a 5 than a 7 for me, but definitely if you're a fan of this, sure, there's worse that the MCU has churned out, and even though I don't plan on revisiting it anytime soon, I'm sure somebody liked it.
Right.
That's all that matters.
Would you say pick or flick for those lovely people that have been following the MCU for 10 years?
I'm pretty indifferent with this hindsight that we now have in regards to the whole series. I thought it was decent enough, including the ending. I still wholeheartedly believe that the show needed a huge rewrite and restructure, whether that was because of COVID or whatever the circumstances may be. Most of the reveals and side characters fucked off towards the end, and the finale kind of just felt like an okay, sorry, and then everything was all wrapped up real nicely. So maybe not wasting the first 6 episodes on pointless shit was the right move after all. So, you know.
So pick.
Oh yeah, sure.
I'd say pick.
Got
it
off
too.
on a tangent there.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I agree with you though. Don't worry. I'd say pick it too, not necessarily because you need to for the Marvel continuation, but if it was someone that was kind of coming in and just, I want to watch a wacky show, this would probably be a good introduction, considering there are 10 years worth of movies that you need to see before this. You'd be a little lost, but it would probably entice you to go back and start an adventure, and there's plenty of time still to sit down before the weather gets super nice and watch them. So that's that.
Sweet.
Yeah, make sure you comment, like, subscribe, I guess. For some reason, one of our videos, actually our last video that we posted before this, took off, and that was great. So if you are enjoying listening at any point, I would rather hear some hatred than no comment at all. So make sure you just say, hi, I
The
listened.
scariest sound of them all is the sound of silence.
I agree with you. Until next time, be sure to check out Confused Reviews. Luke's been chugging away at another
my
video.
channel.
And
It's almost done.
He even launched a Patreon where we sit down and do a little bit more direct reviewing of stuff that we have been watching.
Less tangenty, but
Yeah.
still a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. Gives you a nice little kick in the rear if you're missing some of our stuff. And stay tuned. There's new things coming to Pick It and Flick It soon enough when we get to sit down and watch movies again. So,
but until that happens, make sure to wear your seatbelt and don't do drugs. I don't know.
very good. Very inspirational.
It's what I do.